Hello, everybody. Happy New Year, everybody. I'm Karen Hartglass, the host of It's All About Food, now in its 10th year and counting. And I wanted to start 2020 in a really happy, celebratory way because there's lots of things to be thankful for and a lot of things to be celebrating. And there's no better person to do that with than my life partner living, and it's all about food's favorite featured guest, Gary Mattei. Hey, Gary.
Hey, Karen. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to all of us.
To all of us. Yes.
Yeah.
And what an exciting topic. We're going to talk about how far we've gone in just 10 years as far as the world of veganism is concerned, at least from our perspective, and I'm sure other people have their own perspectives, but this is about us today because it's all about food from the responsible eating and living perspective.
Well, right? I think it's a really great idea to do this too, and especially in these times because mainstream media especially is focusing on all kinds of sensational topics, gloom and doom, and there's so much good going on, and there's so much good to focus on and celebrate, and that's what we're going to do.
Especially from this perspective, right? From those of us who have taken the plunge over the years and adopted this this way of living,
that's right,
plant-based way of living. And yeah, there's a lot of doom and gloom going on. Of course, we can't start any podcast or any chat that might be listened to by other people without acknowledging all of the doom and gloom and the devastation going on. And a lot of it, I feel, and so do you, I know, is caused by climate change. And now the world is actually tuning in to that possibility. And it's unfortunate that it has to be something along the lines of such devastation that's going on now in Australia, for example, with the fires that are clearly a result of climate change. And before that, the fires in California, my home state, and the floods and the tornadoes and the hurricanes and poor Puerto Rico. There's just so many things going on that are attributed to climate change.
And we have to say that climate change is primarily caused by animal agriculture, the animal industry of raising animals to feed people. It's tremendously energy intensive and releases many greenhouse gases into the environment. Carbon dioxide, methane gas, and nitrous oxide are the big ones.
Right. And really, don't be fooled by those folks who try and confuse you and sow the seeds of paranoia and try and say things to you that get into your subconscious and work on you and give you the one thing that they know they can give you to create chaos, and that is doubt. They can say many things to you that will that have been proven over the years to sow the seeds of doubt. This is science-based. This is backed by science. We're just regurgitating the information that has already been proven. And, you can go back to An Inconvenient Truth when Al Gore tried to come out with that, and then he was completely shut down with doubt and folks sowing the seeds of doubt in all of us. But this is the real deal. This is true. This is happening, and don't be swayed. And we have the answer, and the answer is go plant-based, go vegan, whatever you want to call it. We call it veganism because that's where we're at. Other folks are calling it plant-based because they're afraid you're going to get turned off to the word veganism. But whatever you need to get you through the day, stop eating animals, stop eating animal products, stop drinking dairy products, stop doing all of that, and you'll help. And you can control what's on your plate. And that's what we're all about here at Responsible.
You know, we're about eating, and we're also about living.
Right.
So this whole plant-based concept, this whole vegan concept opens your eyes to how things are made, how things affect the planet, how resource intensive things are. And that's not just the food that's on our plate. It's all of our personal care products. It's how things are made and who is exploited, the animals and the people that are involved to prepare these products. It's a big, big picture. But
yeah,
can we?
The other thing I wanted to talk about before we get into more of the lighthearted stuff, the reason we founded Responsible Eating and Living, let us be clear, is because you are an ovarian cancer survivor, and we found out a lot of information. Well, you found out a lot of information about how cancer isn't caught like you catch a cold. Cancer is because there's something going on inside of you that isn't right.
An imbalance. Yeah.
An imbalance, right? And it's not genetic. This is being proved now. I'm regurgitating information.
That's right. I was just listening to something with Bruce Lipton, who was saying there isn't a cancer gene. Now, there are some people who have genes that make them think that they have a cancer gene, but it's a gene that may increase their risk. That doesn't mean they're going to get it. For example, the BRCA genes, these are related to breast cancer and specifically, and there are several kinds of them. And some people feel that if they're positive under the BRCA test, they will get breast cancer. And it's not true. It may increase your risk substantially, but it will not give you cancer. And if you keep yourself out of the danger area, that's the inflammation area. If you feed yourself well and you have a lifestyle that keeps the stress level down, you're not going to have cancer.
That's right.
Or at least if you do get it, you can.
Let's reiterate that, what you just said, that brilliant sentence you just said. If you feed yourself well, and I'm probably paraphrasing what you just said, but if you eat right, and inflammation is another thing that eating right can reverse. In addition to, if you really clean up your act, which is what you did, which is why we founded Responsible Eating and Living, to let folks know how you can clean up your act and it can help you beat this disease that starts inside of you for a number of reasons. One of them could be the toxic chemicals that you put into your body that you didn't realize were toxic, like for you, for example, and again, we'll talk about you, and this is information that you've already put out there, I'm not saying anything new, is you attribute it to many things. One of them might have been the tampons that were incredibly toxic that you used to use and could have created this imbalance inside your body and made things go crazy. So
there's dioxin in tampons even today from the mainstream line of tampons that are bleached. There are dioxins in them, and there's no reason anyone should get anywhere near dioxins, let alone put it inside your body.
Yes. So these dioxins could very well be the cause of cancer. And so what we're here to tell you is this is a way to clean up what's creating all of the havoc inside of you. And there's a lot of havoc going on outside that could also contribute to it as well. Stress, your life, just other things that Bruce Lipton again calls your environment, right? And the environment of the cell is affected by your environment. So there's all kinds of crazy things going on that that a lot of people don't want you to know about because they don't know about it. So we're here. We found out that doctors don't know a whole lot about food as a form of medicine. And so what we're here to say is these are the doctors that do focus on this, and we have podcast after podcast after podcast of you talking to these incredible doctors. We also have information by these doctors that they have proven that this stuff works. So again, we're just giving you the information through our lens, and that's what responsible eating and living is all about. In case you didn't know, in case you're tuning in for the first time and you don't know who the heck we are, that's who we are. We're actually artists. We came together because we met on stage several years ago, to remind some of you, and we were both acting. We continue to act. We continue to work in the arts, but we also do this for absolutely no charge to you. If you want the information, we're here, and we're available to you whenever you need us. I mean, we're not trying to sell you a product. Our product is up there. It's a website. It's the truth and tools for a healthy vegan lifestyle. There you go. Recipes, radio shows like the one you're listening to, a blog, a daily blog, what vegans eat. It doesn't go into like this. A lot of people have told us in the past, God, I don't want to read all of that stuff. I just want to see what you ate. Well, this blog is pretty clean. It's like, this is what we eat. And we're not trying to, paint a really flowery picture. I mean,
we're not trying to win a Pulitzer Prize with this blog. We just want to get you the information clean and fast.
And a lot of the information repeats itself every single day. And we do that by design because we are using ourselves as the model. This is the reality. We're not doing 12, although, our food's really tasty and really great. But, we want to show you that the blog is now going into, how many blogs will it be in February?
February 10th will be our 5th year anniversary. There'll be over 1,800 posts.
Over 1,800 posts about oatmeal.
About oatmeal. We eat a lot of oatmeal.
So, I mean, anytime you tune in, you're going to get kind of a snapshot of, what vegans eat, or what real vegans eat, meaning responsible eating and living vegans eat. And that's Karen and I. So there's a lot of information here, and we have a lot of things to talk about today. But I just wanted to update you on who we are in case you're a new listener. And yeah, we do get some new listeners every now and then. And I'm not normally a guest on the show, although I'm going to probably be jumping in a little more throughout 2020. But we've got some exciting things coming up. Anyway, let us know if you want to be a part of the conversation. And write us at info@realmeals.com.
It's info@realmeals.org. Info@realmeals.org.
Info@realmeals.org. Or call in today. You can call in at 1-888-874-4888, and you could be live with us on the air and ask us questions.
That's fun.
Yeah, that's a lot of fun. Or leave your comments and questions on the PRN, Progressive Radio Network, who is hosting us. They are our fearless leaders. Leave a voicemail on their line at 862-800-6805 with your name, the name of this show, It's All About Food, and your question to be answered on the next program. You could also listen by phone to hear the live broadcast at 1-712-775-6850. Or call Karen's personal archive number to hear the most recent 5 episodes of It's All About Food at 1-701-719-0885. And you can get all that information at responsibleeatingandliving.com by clicking on my face, which is on the homepage today, because I'm on the show, and it'll repeat all of that for you. And we have an app. Responsible Eating and Living has an app. And wherever you get your apps, you can get our app. And wherever you get your podcasts, you can get this podcast. Okay, so I've said enough.
Thank you. You've said a lot.
Okay. Well, I'll see you next week. No, kidding.
Okay, now let's talk about the things to celebrate that happened in the last decade.
Well, the things to celebrate are we're still here.
We're still here.
That's number one.
Let's talk about why we decided to do this. We were watching the Golden Globes.
Yes.
And we were really excited before it started because we heard that they were going to be serving an all-vegan dinner at the event.
Yes, wow, groundbreaking. They went public with this information and really got it out there. So you know that this is a hot topic. And the reason, and as your father used to say, God rest his soul, the reason being, what is the reason being, Karen?
The reason being is to make the connection between animal agriculture and climate change. And the Hollywood Foreign Press, who organizes the Golden Globes, decided that they wanted to support that concept.
Yeah,
and by serving
genius.
a plant-based meal.
Yes. And do we have any other information about that meal, or is that just it? They had, like, do we know who the chef was, or?
I can tell you that in a minute. I think Huffington Post did an article, and I'm pulling that up right as we speak. But while I do that, we could talk about Joaquin Phoenix a bit.
Yes.
And the things that he said during the show when he received his Best Actor award.
Because we are artists, Karen and I are artists, actors, directors, teachers, theater writers, etc. Because we're all about that, we were especially psyched and excited to see Joaquin Phoenix work in his recent film Joker, which I'm sure many of you have seen, which is an incredible performance, and he won the Golden Globe for Best Actor, and then he obviously came out with his speech and did something that just we were very excited about. He talked about, or he gave props, he shouted out in his speech, which you can find on the internet, that how grateful he was, and again I'm paraphrasing, but how grateful he was to the Globes, to the Hollywood Foreign Press for acknowledging through their choice to do a vegan meal, a plant-based meal, climate change, and how the food we eat affects what's going on now with respect to our climate. And
I have the menu if you want to hear it.
Yeah, what did they end up serving, and who put that thing
Beverly
together?
Hilton. Matthew Morgan, the executive chef at the Beverly Hilton Hotel, told the Hollywood Reporter Sunday's vegan menu was a bit of last-minute change from a dinner that initially was to have featured fish. It included a chilled golden beet soup, an entree of king oyster mushroom scallops with a wild mushroom risotto, Brussels sprouts, and carrots. Now, this was not a menu designed for Gary Mattei, who is not a fan of mushrooms, but for most vegans, mushrooms provide a meaty, chewy, rich flavor.
Yes, but in all fairness to Gary Mattei, he does now participate occasionally in mushroom eating. So, as can be proven in your blog, when we were at the fabulous
PS
Kitchen, and they do that incredible. Okay, let's talk about that incredible
buffalo maitake mushroom appetizer.
Right, we've talked about it before, and I'll talk about it again. That thing is crazy. Go to PS Kitchen, and you will be amazed. If you don't like mushrooms, try those; they're amazing. Or get some and try them yourself.
And then for dessert at the Golden Globes, executive pastry chef Thomas Hensey created a vegan opera dome.
That sounds great.
And the off-camera buffet tables were free of animal products as well. And the night included water served in glass bottles to reduce plastic waste.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's really, really exciting. And then Joaquin got up there and gave a shout out to the Hollywood Foreign Press for doing this, and then went on in his own way to then talk about how important it is that we know that this is a reality. And other people have done that, but not quite the way Joaquin did it, which we really wanted to talk about a little bit more today. So if you want to hear that speech, you can find it on the web, on the World Wide Web, somewhere, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Now, I made a list of one item to talk about for every year in the decade.
Right.
And I don't know if you want to talk about something else before I jump into this, but I just wanted to let you know. I have this list.
Oh, good. Yeah, no, that's what we're here for. But the other thing we wanted to talk about before we get to that is we want to talk about Russell Crowe's speech and and how he was absent, but he won an award and he won an acting award at Globes. He was absent, and via his presenter, who I think it was, I don't know who it was. I don't remember who it was. Oh,
it was Jennifer Aniston.
Jennifer Aniston read his response, and that's also something that that confirmed through credible sources that the fires that he didn't make it to the Globes because of the fires that were going on in his country of Australia, and he was there protecting his family, according to the speech. He couldn't be there, but he wanted to point out that this was a result of climate change, these fires in Australia, and I thought that was very powerful as well, and that got some press, but as far as we're concerned, meaning you and I, it didn't get enough press, so that also deserves a shout out. Anyway.
Well, more people are talking about climate change, and more people are acknowledging that climate change is human induced. At least the global warming, this warming of our planet, is caused by human activity. But still, we don't get animal agriculture is a major contributor.
Right. We do not.
We do not.
We do not. Okay, continue.
Okay, so we're going to have a little countdown here of exciting things that happened in the last 10 years. And I wanted to start with 2010. And my friend and colleague, John Robbins,
a perfect place to start.
Wrote a book, The New Good Life, Living Better Than Ever in the Age of Less. And it came out in the middle of 2010. And I interviewed him on this show. And
which you can find on the archives.
He has just an incredible story. And
tell us about it, Karen.
Well, he and his family have lived through just all kinds of things. He grew up with a silver spoon. He was the son of the man who created Baskin-Robbins ice cream. He was groomed to take over the ice cream empire. He was brought up with lots of riches and privilege. And then he and his wife, Deo, who is a wonderful friend of mine, decided to give it all up and turn their back to all of that and create their own life. They lived on like $600 a month for a few years on some island off of Vancouver, where they raised their son, Ocean. And then they came back, and John wrote Diet for New America in 1987. Oh my goodness, over 30 years ago. And it was a groundbreaking bestseller. He founded EarthSave, a nonprofit. I was privileged to be on the board for some time and run it as executive director. And then Ocean, he was married. They had sons, twins. Unfortunately, they were born very premature. And so John and Deo and Ocean and Michelle, they were a great team, and they held these babies skin to skin for an entire year in order to maximize their development, because they were at risk of being deaf and dumb. I'm not supposed to use the word dumb. Deaf and unable to speak and communicate and all kinds of things. It turns out they're on the autism spectrum, but they've developed amazingly well, and they attribute that to their incredible upbringing. And then, unfortunately,
and a little keep you at thought, but just to interject something here, the influence that this book has had on everyone who's read it still goes strong today. Diet for a New America.
Absolutely. I mean, there are so many activists who have read that book and have become incredible leaders in the plant-based movement.
Right. So if it's still obviously being published, and if you haven't read it, and you need to know a great place to start, that's where I started in 2006 when you told me about the book, and it changed my life. So it's still very, very powerful. Anyway, continue. I'm sorry.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's still very powerful because it was written over 30 years ago, and all of it is still true, and some of it is even more so.
Right.
He talked about climate change back then in the book.
Right, exactly.
Anyway, so then they were hit with more misfortune where they were one of the families who invested in a portfolio that turned out to be the Bernie Madoff scam, and they lost everything.
Yes.
And
recently, that was recent.
Well, that was 2008, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were scheduled to see them for lunch the next day or something, and he called in a panic and said, we can't get together. We've just lost everything. Can you imagine? No. Anyway, they teamed up again as a family, and they managed to put a plan together and keep going. And the first thing that happened was John put out a new book called The New Good Life, Living Better Than Ever in an Age of Less. And it's a lovely book. And it talks not only about food, but it talks about things that you can do in your home, products that you can make, cleaners that you can use to really simplify, but actually do better. Because there are so many products out there that are just out there because capitalism needs to grow and capitalism needs to create new products. And yet there are so many simple products that we can use in the home. When we clean, we use baking soda, we use vinegar and water. Right. And I add essential oils to make things smell nice. But that's it. You don't need any of these fancy things that come in plastic.
Yes.
So there's a lot of that in this book, The New Good Life, and it's still a great book to read. And then after that, they created the Food Revolution Network, which is such a powerful network. I am very privileged to be a part of it, working with them. We created the Plant Powered and Thriving course, which is ongoing, and I've worked behind the scenes for their summits, and I still work behind the scenes on a number of projects, and it's really a powerful organization reaching so many people. So you have to think, sometimes when bad things happen, good things come out of them. And that was 2010.
Right. Hooray, John, Ocean, Deo.
And Michelle.
Michelle's not Michelle, right? Michelle is someone.
Oh, I'm sorry. She's now called Phoenix. Yes.
Right. Right. And
okay.
Also, wasn't River Phoenix, Joaquin Phoenix's brother, the great actor who passed away several years ago? They were also huge fans of John's book, Diet for a New America, and that is one of the reasons why River and Bodie. River is named River. He's named after River Phoenix because they're great friends.
Yeah. Ocean Sun.
Ocean Sun River. Yeah, so there's a connection there, and that's one of the reasons why they all went vegan.
Yeah, there's a connection there.
Yeah.
What happened in 2011, Gary?
2011. I've got it here on my list. Hang on, drum roll.
Responsible Eating and Living was launched.
Oh, I knew that. Yay! Responsible Eating and Living was launched in July of 2011.
Yeah, and that's something we celebrate.
Every single day. Yes. Yeah. And it does, as we said, I mean, I've already kind of talked about what we do, but this podcast is a major part of that. And over the years, you have talked to some incredible people, and it's all archived. It's just such a tremendous resource. I mean, if I wasn't a part of it, I would just be simply agog about everything that's going on here.
So one of my 2020 resolutions, I hope I get to it, I've been wanting to do this for years, is to arrange the archive at Responsible Eating and Living into a more usable library where people can access information in a better way. Because right now it's just accessible in chronological order, or if you know someone and you're looking for someone, you can search for their name. But I really want to organize it in terms of topics and things that people would be interested in.
Right.
And that's just
Yeah.
one more thing to do and one more thing to fundraise for to make it happen.
That's right. And we shall overcome and make it happen. Now, we also wanted to talk about Michelle Simon, right? In 2011?
Yeah, well, I can talk about her in 2011, but she's also part of 2016 in terms of my list of things here.
Okay, good. Well, we'll save that. We'll save Michelle
it because I thought real launching in 2011 it all made sense in my list anyway. So let's go to 2012 because I love this story.
Okay, before we do that, though, let's talk about a few of the changes that we're going to be making to responsible eating and living in 2020, because we talked about it as being the item now, and I'm just riffing here with you. But we want to make sure that we let everyone know that if you go to the website, those of you who have been around for a while, we are now Responsible Eating and Living, and it's going to be Responsible Eating and Living Vegan. We're going to be adding the vegan word to our title on our website so that we attract more attention, because the word vegan is now such a hot, but always has been, but we want to make sure we get out there that people know instantly that we are vegan. Of course, the tag says truth and tools for a healthy vegan lifestyle, but we also want to include it so you'll see a change in our homepage where we'll add the word vegan to Responsible Eating and Living very soon.
Soon.
Yes, coming soon. And that will also have some other changes. So check out our website and get a great recipe for Italian fig cookies and real body cream and vegan panettone and vegan cannelloni before we change it, and have new recipes up there on the homepage. Okay, anyway, continue.
It's getting me hungry.
Yes.
I've never learned. We should always eat before doing this show.
That's right. All right.
Okay, so 2012. I had the opportunity to interview Miyoko Schinner, and I've interviewed her a number of times on this show.
Yes.
And she had come out with a new cookbook called Artisan Vegan Cheese.
Yes.
And it was a fun interview. I recommend going to our website and reading the transcript or listening to the interview. But towards the end of the interview, I asked her, we talked about how she had owned a restaurant in the 80s, I think it was, in San Francisco near Japantown. And she talked about how it was difficult. She was raising her kids and she ended up closing the restaurant. And then she came out with this book, Artisan Vegan Cheese, and people went nuts over it. There's a lot of nuts used in the recipes. And I asked her, I said, now the time is really ripe for vegan cheese by Miyoko. And she acknowledged that, and she talked about the past with her businesses. And she says she was ready to take off, and she said, I'm hoping that this cheese goes somewhere. I love to teach. That's one of the things that is most important. That was one of the things about manufacturing I really didn't like. And she said,
Miyoko talking now.
Yeah, Miyoko talking. And then she talked about the making of cheese, but she never talked about creating or manufacturing cheese. She wanted to teach, she wanted to share the information, and that was in 2012.
Right.
And 7 years ago.
Well,
and so
now,
much has happened since then.
Right.
Not only has she created a factory and brought in French authentic cheesemakers to work with her to create plant-based cheeses that are done in an authentic cheese-making way with enzymes. But then she had to expand her factory. It was such a hit. And her products now, you can get them in Whole Foods. You can get them in Trader Joe's. She not only makes cheese, she makes cream cheese and vegan butter. And she's working on
vegan butter, yeah.
And they have good ingredients, and they're organic.
They're amazing. Her products are amazing. And now she's
won
starting
awards.
and now isn't she also starting to work with oat milk?
And she's working on oat milk products. It's just crazy. And it's such a short amount of time. And she's not the only one. There are other people that have come along. But I just wanted to note that I spoke with her in 2012 before the business started of making cheese. And it's just exploded in less than 7 years.
And why are we talking about cheese? I mean, why is that such an incredible topic? Well, for one reason, so many people that we talk to about switching to a plant-based diet say the same thing to us over and over again.
I can't give up cheese.
I can't give up cheese. And why is that? Let's tell them why they can't give up cheese or think they can't give up cheese.
Right. Well, there are casomorphines in cheese.
Again, repeat that.
Casomorphine.
Morphine.
Yeah, there's a morphine in casomorphine, in the word casomorphine, but cheese is addicting.
Cheese is addicting.
And it's got salt and fat, and those add flavor profiles that are very appealing.
So again, keeping true to what we're all about, we're blabbing on about this product, and there are other vegan cheeses that are out on the market, and we're talking about Miyoko as our person that we're highlighting in our last 10 years. But this is because we want to give you information about how easy it is to transition off of the animal, as I like to say, and onto a plant-based vegan lifestyle. And these products are there to help you do just that. And, you know, after you're on this path, there are going to be times when you don't even think about having cheese, because it's actually, you know, you're actually coming down off of the addiction. I mean, I'm the prime example of that. And I always talk about this when I'm on your show, that, you know, I was addicted to cheese. I thought I would never be able to give it up. And then we started making cheese from Miyoko's book, and it really helps. It's incredible how much
it does help. We also modified some recipes from Real Food Daily, the cookbook Real Food Daily.
Right. That's a great restaurant in Los Angeles.
Yes, and
she has
some great agar-based cheese recipes in that.
Right, and she has a great cookbook too, for those of you who want to buy some vegan cookbooks. That's a great one. I started by reading from cover to cover your copy of Eric Tucker's book from the Millennium Restaurant, owned at that time by Ann and Larry Wheat, and Eric was the executive chef. He now owns the Millennium Restaurant in Oakland.
Yeah.
Right. They moved their San Francisco location to Oakland, and Ann and Larry are founders emeritus now. They no longer are involved in the day-to-day, but if you want a great cookbook to start you with, check out the Millennium Cookbook, which is, I hope, still published. If not, you can probably find used copies. And it's by Eric Tucker. It's great. But the Real Food Daily,
unlike so many cookbooks today, Eric Tucker's cookbooks go into intense detail about the process and the skill involved and the steps involved. And many people get overwhelmed because there are so many ingredients and so many steps, but you really learn a lot about food and preparation.
Especially if you love to cook. Yeah. If you love to cook.
I also wanted to mention Real Food Daily. The cookbook was by Ann Gentry, and she also founded the chain of restaurants. Didn't want to slip without giving her a plug. Can we move to 2013?
Of course.
Okay, cool. So I wanted to talk briefly about Josh Tetrick. I interviewed him in 2013. And he was just starting to be talked about, just coming onto the plant-based food scene. He had started his company, Hampton Creek, which was called Beyond Eggs. Nobody knew that, but he started as Beyond Eggs. And then in 2013, he leaped into the world. People became more aware of him because he was featured in Bill Gates' documentary, The Future of Food.
Right.
And he's a company that Bill Gates supported along with other investors. And what his company does is they've created in the laboratory with food scientists a product that is made from plant ingredients that works just like eggs, with the idea that in industrial foods, they could replace the egg, which is so cruel to produce and not friendly to the environment, and cheaper. His product would be cheaper to use, which would be the incentive for all industrial foods, the companies that produce them, to want to use his product. And so he's gone from calling the company Beyond Eggs to Hampton Creek, and now it's called Just.
Just.
Yeah, but I spoke with him in 2013.
Yes, you did. That was a great
exciting.
interview.
Yeah.
Yes. 2013, Josh. Okay, what about 2014?
2014. Okay, the documentary Cowspiracy came out by Kip Anderson and Keegan Kuhn. Later, it was produced by Leonardo DiCaprio for the Netflix version, but that was groundbreaking. Cowspiracy.
Cowspiracy. Tell us a little bit about that. Do you remember anything about that film?
Yes, of course. Well, what they did was they interviewed leaders, executive directors of many environmental organizations, nonprofit organizations, Greenpeace and the Environmental Defense Fund. I forget all the ones that they interviewed, but they would go into the offices and talk to them and then ask them what their stand was about animal agriculture and the environment, or if they were talking about it or promoting it, and what's characteristic of the two films that they've done is you get these people either looking clueless or walking away and not wanting to talk to them.
Right.
And they connected the dots with the supporters, the funding companies behind these environmental organizations. Most of them were related to meat companies, meat products.
That's happening a lot.
And so they couldn't be honest about the link between the environment and animal agriculture, which is devastating to the environment. And not just climate change. Environmental agriculture is a disaster for air pollution, water pollution, soil degradation.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway, so Cowspiracy.
And these films they're now streaming on Netflix, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
Okay. 2015.
2015. Yes, drum roll. This might be one of my favorites. In March of 2015, there was a French tenor, a singer, who also liked to play in the kitchen. His name was Joël Roussel.
Mm-hmm. And
he discovered, along with somebody named Goose Walt, I think. Oh, no. He posted a video, and then someone else, Goose Walt, saw it. He discovered what's called aquafaba now. He discovered the water that we pour off from a can of garbanzo beans, that water that we throw down the drain. Mm-hmm. You can whip it into a frenzy, that's what I like to say, and create vegan meringue.
Yes.
And
unbelievable.
He made meringue cookies by adding sugar to it. And then I interviewed Shu Dever.
Shu Dever.
Came out,
spell that.
Yeah, she taught me how to say Shu because it's like Jaja.
Mm-hmm.
Shu. I think it's Shu Dever or Shu Dever. And she came out with the book Aquafaba. Now, she also has another cookbook called Everyday Vegan Eats, Vegan Bowl, and Vegan Bowls. She's a cookbook author, but we love her Aquafaba cookbook. And I got to talk to her the following year. They came out with it pretty quickly. And we we made the lemon meringue pie, and the recipe is on our website.
Yes, and also a video showing you how this stuff whips up. It's incredible. Check it out.
I'm always so excited to do it. I wasn't a fan of meringue in my non-vegan days, but somehow when I saw what you could do with bean water, oh my God, it tickles me so much. I love making it.
And you do it so well. You fold it into pancakes. You use it in a lot of different things, and it's really a lot of fun to play with and work with. It's great.
And we're not done playing with it.
No. Now, how do you spell her first name?
Z-S-U.
Z-S-U. And it's pronounced Shu.
Shu.
And her last name is Dever or Dever. D-E-V-E-R. And her book is called The Aquafaba. Now, aquafaba translated is aqua is water, and faba
bean water.
Bean water, right?
Yeah.
So this is the bean water.
Yeah, her full name is Shoshana. Shoshana, but we call her Shu.
The Aquafaba cookbook or something like that.
Yeah,
right?
and there have been other cookbooks that have come out since, but that was the beginning. The beginning! All in the 2010 decade.
Right. All right, 2016.
Okay, 2016. Now we're going to talk about Michelle Simon. So I interviewed her in 2011. She had some blogs, Appetite. What was it called? She was, I got to Google her again to remember what her blog was called. But I met her years before when I hosted the all-vegan food festival at Lincoln Center from 2002 to 2006, 5 years in a row. And she was one of my first speakers.
Food festivals, right? And that was at, what did you do at this vegan food festival, just to catch everybody up on how incredible you are?
Right. Now, I won't say that it's the first vegan food festival, although there have been people subsequently after my event that said that they were the first vegan food festival. I'm not going to get upset about that, but it happens.
Okay.
It was an all vegan food festival outdoors in the month of June at Lincoln Center, which is probably the greatest arts, music center in the world. They have this incredible campus in Manhattan. And we had some internet problem here, and I'm working on it to make it better here for a moment. So bear with me, and I'll bring Gary back in a minute, and then I'll get back to my other line. It's hard to do this and talk at the same time. Let's see here. I am going to move to another network. We have so much more to talk about, and I don't know what happened here, but somebody doesn't like, obviously, us talking about the success of the plant-based movement. So here we go. I'm going to ask the PR network people to reconnect us.
Oh, wow, that was exciting.
There we go. Okay, what happened to my earphones?
Very exciting. Sorry about that, everybody. We had a internet connection problem. All right, so we were talking about Michelle Simon, and we're going to get back with the list of 2016 in just a few seconds.
Oh, okay, here we are.
Sorry about that, everyone. And now we're back off the air again. Oh. Well, we've only got about 10 minutes left. So when we get back with Karen, we'll talk about the rest of our list. Meanwhile...
I'm back.
You're back. Yay, you're back.
We have to edit that little blip out of this program. Can we do that?
Absolutely.
All right, back through 2016. I was talking about Michelle Simon, and she was one of the first speakers at our Taste of Health event back at Lincoln Center. But then in 2016, very creative. She came up with the first plant-based food lobby located in Washington, D.C. You can find out more about plantbasedfoods.org. It's the Plant-Based Food Association. And now we have so many different companies with plant-based food products, and they're all becoming a part of it. You know, broccoli doesn't have a lot of support. And plant milks and plant meat, they need more support, just like all the lobbyists, the high-paid lobbyists that work for all of these corporations that promote sugar and meats and dairy. So this was genius.
Right. Fantastic. Okay. So
my hats off to Michelle Simon for founding the Plant-Based Food Association, and they're doing great things, not just lobbying. They've also got some sort of not a pop-up, but they're offering plant-based foods and snacks in key locations.
Right.
Okay,
good
so
stuff,
2017.
all the way around.
2017 was the What the Health documentary came out.
What the Health, one of my favorite documentaries. It's really, and again, it's by
Kip Anderson and Keegan Kuhn. Similar style to Cowspiracy, where they went to notable health organizations, especially like the American Diabetes Association, and said, you know, what do you know about the connection between health and consuming animal products? And they would act like they didn't know anything.
Right. And they would refuse to speak to people. And that was really an incredibly powerful documentary when it got down to it. And you saw just how many doctors know nothing about nutrition and how it affects healing and disease.
Yeah, we can't knock doctors for not knowing, but they don't get any education about it in medical school. But they're the doctors that educated themselves about nutrition on their own are now a part of a growing movement to change the education in medical schools. Dr. Michael Clapper is an example. The American Lifestyle Medicine Organization is another example. Many doctors are a part of that. So hopefully we'll see some change in this decade.
Right. 2018.
2018, the documentary Dominion came out, and it's very powerful. It's very hard to watch. I just wanted to mention that it exists. And although I personally have a very hard time seeing what's actually going on, the horrors of industrial agriculture, the horrors of raising cattle for milk and meat, the horrors of raising pigs for meat, the horrors of raising chicken for eggs and for meat. It's all exposed, and you see the brutality in this film.
Yeah. The human brutality is just, it's just, this movie just affected me to the core. And it's if you can, it should be required viewing in all public schools.
Yeah.
But you'll never see that.
You'll never see it. No.
No, because children would not want to eat meat.
Because we don't want to see the truth.
Right.
So what's brilliant about Cowspiracy and What the Health, and the next film that I'm going to talk about from 2019, Game Changers, these talk about the benefits of plant-based eating, the benefits to the environment, the benefits to health, without showing the brutality of raising the animals for the food.
Right. And I just want to point out that Dominion is a Joaquin Phoenix production, and also I believe Rooney Mara is his partner, narrates a lot of. Also be one of the producers. I don't know for sure, but anyway, just to continue our theme of Joaquin Phoenix today, he's one of the producers of Dominion.
Oh, that's a good way to start and end, talking about Joaquin Phoenix. But what I wanted to say is the decade of 2010 through 2019 has been an amazing time for the plant-based movement. We have an explosion in plant-based milks, plant-based cheeses, plant-based burgers, plant-based personal care products, plant-based textiles, plant-based leathers, and this is very exciting. You've got a lot of young people who grew up with this concept already somewhat in the mainstream, and then just building on what they can do to make it more accessible, more fashionable.
Right.
And this is exciting.
It's a very exciting time.
This is what we can celebrate. And we have friends. We have friends that, we've been joking with them and enjoying foods with them and hoping, because we know how much better it would be for them if they adopted this lifestyle. And from time to time, we get a message, we get a question from them, and it's so warming when they tell us they're going vegan,
yes.
They're plant-based.
Yeah. So a shout out to all of you, especially to Stan and Maura, who are out there. Okay, Karen, we didn't get to talk about our Oscar-winning kitchen dream team.
Oh, yeah. Maybe we'll do that next time.
Do that next time for the Oscars.
Right.
Okay.
Sounds good. Okay, you've been listening to the 2020 edition of It's All About Food. I'm Karen Hartglass. My special guest today was Gary Mattei. We're the founders of Responsible Eating and Living at responsibleeatingandliving.com. You can find us there and email us at info@realmeals.org. Thanks, everybody, and have a delicious week.